Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Hanford, and my wife, Danae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur.
With us on the podcast today is Elzie Flenard. He's the founder and CEO of Enterprise Now, an enterprise development firm that helps businesses launch, grow, and maximize through coaching, business training, and podcasting. Elzie, thank you for being with us. We're looking forward to talking with you today.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited to talk with you guys.
Well, Elzie, talk to us a little bit about where your current focus is right now as an entrepreneur.
Right now, my primary focus is on Enterprise Now. And obviously, a big part of Enterprise Now is the podcast. So I am having a ball meeting and talking with phenomenal, awesome entrepreneurs and business owners on a weekly basis.
That's exciting. Podcasting is a lot of fun for the host as well as the people you're interviewing. We're finding that out for ourselves as well. So I want you to first start us off, Elzie, and talk about a tough decision that you've had along your journey as an entrepreneur. Let's first start with one that maybe didn't have that good of an outcome and some of the lessons you learned through that tough decision.
One that comes to my mind right off the bat is at one point in time, I had a minor league basketball team, and it was going to be great. We were going to go out and we were going to play games. It was going to be so entertaining and fun, and the community was going to grab a hold to it, and it was going to be awesome. Well, long story short, it didn't turn out to be so awesome, and I had to sit people down and say, hey, this isn't working. I have to let you go. And it was tough because given enough time and money, I think we would have been able to pull through. We just didn't get the traction. So having to have that conversation was definitely tough, and making the decision to pull the plug was definitely one of the toughest things that I've had to do.
So I got a couple of questions for you. Number one, are you saying you actually owned the actual team?
I did, yes.
That's exciting. That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. So I've always thought about, how profitable that would be. And obviously in this situation, it wasn't that profitable. But the second question I'd have for you is, what made you decide to start this team?
Yeah, well, it was something that I always wanted to do. And to be quite honest with you, I still want to do it, Dan. I just know better now what I need to do in order to be successful. So I am going to do that again because I am ultra competitive and I don't lose. Right. It was just a temporary hiccup in the process. So one day we're gonna start back up. But it's something I've always wanted to do, and it's a ton of fun. And sports is one of those things that brings people together. And again, I'm a basketball fan, and so I wanted to bring something to the community on a community local level that they can rally behind and connect with. So that was the primary reason.
We've interviewed several entrepreneurs that had a similar problem, I guess, where they had a product, but for one reason or another, they didn't have the customers that they thought they had. So what I'm wondering is, in your case, did you think that you had the customers and it just didn't work out that way? Or did maybe you not put enough into the preliminary research, getting market information as far as your customers were concerned?
Yeah, I think what I did wrong or didn't do properly was I didn't account for, it's basic business, right? If you think that it's going to take 30 days, it's probably going to take 45 or 60. If you think it's going to take 10,000, it's probably going to take 20 to 25.
Please don't tell my wife that.
I haven't heard about that.
But it's true. It's true.
It's true.
Things don't always go the way you think they're going to go, and sometimes they take a little longer than you think they're going to take. So the way that I had set everything up was we were super, super conservative on promo dollars and was very grassroots. And so we did the right things that way in terms of watching costs and not going overboard with things. But I think what the biggest mistake that I made or we made was we weren't capitalized enough to wait it out until the fans started to come into the stands. I definitely think the market was and is there. But I think, again, in any business, you have to be willing to stay the course, if you will, because sometimes it takes a little while before you can become profitable. So I would say that was the biggest hiccup for us.
So what would you do differently now that you have gone through this particular situation? What would you do differently when you do it again?
Yeah. So next time around, the first thing I'm going to do differently is going to be extremely community-based, where the players understand, hey, there's no pay for this. This is basically you're doing it for fun and to get exercise and to compete at a high level. The travel is another thing that kills minor league sports teams. So I would make sure that all the teams are local. The third thing I would do is I'm going to be planning on losing money for at least the first 3 to 5 years. Just coming into it, understanding that this is a community organization. It's about fun. It's about connecting, and it's about bringing people together, and almost not even looking at it as a profitable venture until year 4 or 5. And then we can start to say, okay, now the community knows who we are. We've been at community events, and now we can start to reasonably expect to start to turn a profit. So those are the top 2 or 3 things that I would do differently.
So would you be starting your own league locally, or would it be just one team that you would just latch on to another league that's already existing?
I'm thinking it would be an entire league.
And to say, because in order to have, that close knit of a group, it would probably have to be that. But you're talking about being able to like sell tickets and have events and things like that for them to be able to come to, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Well, let's shift to a different tough decision. Let's talk about a tough decision that you did and that you had to go through that had a really good outcome, or an outcome that you weren't really expecting, but it was really positive, and some of the lessons you learned through that one.
Yep. So with Enterprise Now, when I first started, I started it off as a radio station. So I owned the radio station, the internet radio station, and then Enterprise Now was a show on the station. And so I had gotten up to about 10 or 12 shows on the station. And Enterprise Now began to really grow and flourish. But I started to look into podcasting and really realize that this is the future of radio, and I'm doing air quotes over here. So I decided to kind of shift and pivot my business entirely, and kind of got rid of some things, added some things in terms of my business, my focus, my strategy, and really started to hone in on those top 1 to 2 things that I felt like I did well. And it's really been extremely beneficial. I think today we're head and shoulders above where we were when I had to make that decision to pivot. I think that my customers appreciate the focus and the way that we're helping them launch, grow, and maximize using podcasting. And so I think just having that, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and making that pivot was one of the best decisions that I've made in the last few years here.
What was the hardest thing about making that transition and making that change?
Well, just as an entrepreneur, sometimes we get tunnel vision, and we're so focused that we sometimes are unable to see anything other than what's in front of us. And so it was really tough for me at first to say, okay, this is a completely different direction. How is this going to work? Is this going to work? And what are the benefits of making this move? And so I think once I got past that initial shock to the system, it was really a lot more fluid in terms of how things began to work for my business.
So Elzie, talk to us a little bit about the strategies or techniques that you use whenever you have a tough decision to make.
I am a thinker. I was telling my wife the other day, I could literally sit in my office and think for an entire day, just kind of working through different scenarios and how things feel. I'm a big ease person. And what I mean by ease is it's not easy. It's just a feeling. Some people refer to it as your gut feeling or that sense that you have. And when I get to that place, that's when I know, okay, this is the right decision. When I have that moment or that feeling of ease. Again, it's not easy, but it's just a feeling of ease, like just kind of realizing and knowing that, okay, this is a tough decision. This is probably going to hurt, but I'm at ease with it and it makes sense. So for me, the first thing that I do is I get to a quiet place and I just start to think through all the different scenarios. How is this decision going to affect both me, my family, and other people, right? Because we don't exist in a vacuum. Decisions that we make affect other people. And so I'm always trying to be cognizant of the fact that the things that I do affect other people. And so to answer your question, I get quiet and I start to think through things from a 360 perspective. And when I get to that moment of ease, that's when I know I've made the right decision.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. I hear from some of our show sponsors. When we come back, we're going to talk to Elzie about some of his favorites as it relates to business.
Hello, this is J.V. Crum III, host of the Conscious Millionaire podcast, with a special announcement for business owners, entrepreneurs, and coaches. Do you want to create a big impact with your customers and turn it into big money? Then I created the High Performer Formula especially for you because it contains the exact steps you need to become a high performer. Now, these are the steps I've used to make over $30 million, and I'm pulling back the curtain to share the steps with you so that you can reach levels of financial and business success you may have only dreamed of before. Get your hands on the High Performer Formula today. It's my gift to you, so go ahead and download your own copy now. Just go to consciousmillionaire.com/high performer. Again, go to consciousmillionaire.com/high performer.
We are back, and we're going to be going over what we like to call the trifecta, which is a series of questions, Elzie, that we're going to ask you about some of the favorites that you have as an entrepreneur. So to get us started, what is your most favorite technology that you use in business almost every day to make your life easier as an entrepreneur?
Gotta be my iPhone. I mean, my calendar's in there, email, anything I need. I could run 80% of my business from my iPhone.
What is a favorite quote that you've heard that's helped you as an entrepreneur?
Favorite quote. The person who says that they can and the person who says that they can't are both right.
And what about a favorite book that's helped you either with the way you make decisions or with your business?
The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
I like that book. It's one of the books that has helped me quite a bit as an entrepreneur myself. So what's the next thing for you, Elzie, on your vision or dream board right now?
Well, the next thing for me in terms of my business is I want to scale. I want to get to the point where I can begin to hire more people, basically fire myself. I'm working hard on doing that. I'm working on a book. And so in the next year or so, I'd like to, again, fire myself, have the book written, and expand Enterprise Now into other areas.
Have you come up with the title of your book yet?
I'm thinking Fire Yourself. I haven't thought of the subtitle just yet, but I've been on this really big kick this year to fire myself. You know, everything from the podcast. I probably always host the show, but there are certain aspects of it that I still do that I'd like to fire myself from. And again, to have the humility and the confidence to surround myself with people who are better at doing things than I am. And again, just kind of elevating my business to the next level. So I'm thinking it's kind of a working title, but I'm thinking Fire Yourself is going to be the title.
Well, how can the listeners reach out to you if they want to follow you more or stay in contact with you?
Yep. The best way is via email at eflenard, that's EFLENARD @enterprise-now.biz, or you can come to the website www.enterprise-now.biz, that's BIZ, and reach out to me there.
We'll also have those links in the show notes, and you can visit toughdecisions.net to grab those show notes. And thank you so much, Elzie, for being with us today. Look forward to having you on a future podcast as you continue to grow as an entrepreneur.
Not a problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.